He's damn near 80 years old, which is the oldest president we've ever had. And you're saying Trump is not qualified. Trump has his faculties. He's slowing down in his motor skills because he's an old-ass man. But he stays brilliant. He always keeps his mind sharp. He exercises. He's walking unassisted. Now, he might walk with his wife's hand to steady himself. That's the beauty of having a wife. That's what she's there for, support. But old Biden, no, indeed. Now, they said over the weekend he was playing with the dog and fell out and fractured his foot. Okay, how do you fracture your foot, your whole foot? Not part of your foot. You fracture your whole foot playing with the dog. Did you kick it? That's what I can think of. And this is not the first time he's fallen. Now, sorry to say, I don't really care about old Biden, but I do care about the elderly. Usually when you fall down a lot, you're about to die. That's just something that happens. My grandmother fell down 2 or 3 times, and next thing you know, she's in the hospital ready to die. I had a church member who was living alone. She had fell down in the backyard. Somebody helped her up. She had fell down in the kitchen washing dishes. Somebody helped her up. And then she had fallen down again in the kitchen. And she was down there for 2 or 3 days because nobody had seen her. And a neighbor came in the house and found her. And she had shitted and pissed on herself because she'd been down there for 3 days. Couldn't get up. Now, I don't know what happens when you get old that you can't get up. I've seen commercials, I've fallen, I can't get up, which makes me laugh because it's so dramatic and over the top. It's things, like I said, I watched the whole background. What makes me laugh is the woman was doing laundry, and she comes upstairs with a basket full of wipes, and then she fell down. So I was like, help, I fallen, I can't get up. And the first thing I said was, oh, damn, now you got to go back downstairs after you get up and got to wash some clothes all over again because they all over the floor. You know, wipes, once they hit the floor, they ain't clean no more. And that's what was funny, you know. Now, me, damn, if I'm going back downstairs, if I have fallen down and I go back downstairs again, wash some clothes all over again, just brush them off. They'll be good. And if you have the basket, wouldn't you be able to use the basket to brace yourself, to get yourself up? You know, sometimes people forget to use the techniques. Your body naturally knows how to get it off the ground. You roll over. You bend your knees. Same thing babies do. Babies fall down all day long. They put them knees up, baby, get up. Even if you can only get to your knees and walk on your knees and crawl on your knees, that's enough to get to some steps to elevate yourself up off the ground. Get to a chair to elevate yourself off the ground. But to be laying down on your side and you can't bend your legs and you need to go into a home. But as long as your knees, legs, and joints are moving, there should be no reason why you can't get up. Even the guy who's playing golf, you're telling me that you can swing that stick, but you can't get up off the grass. I admit the commercials are extreme just to sell a product, but everybody doesn't need them. Also, I say there must be something for white people because I've yet to see any black person on the commercial saying I fall and I can't get up. Maybe after today, hearing this, maybe they'll start putting blacks on the commercial, but I haven't seen any blacks. And that commercial has been going on my entire lifetime. I haven't seen any blacks on the commercial. So it must not be for black people. Maybe blacks don't have that falling down, can't get up problem, perhaps. But anyway, like I anticipate, Biden will get his inauguration, and then something will happen. Maybe the Alzheimer's, maybe the falling down, maybe the physical fitness, maybe the forgetfulness. And Kamala Harris will become president. The Republican Party and myself feel that the presidency is a farce just to get Kamala Harris, how you pronounce it, in the presidential seat. See, she couldn't win on her own. But you know and I know that the vice president becomes president if something happens to the president. He don't actually have to be assassinated. He can resign and she becomes president. They will have an all-woman presidency because she'll be the president and Nancy will be the vice president. And then Nancy will bump her ass off, her the president, which still, either way, A, B, or C route, will still get Nancy Pelosi the presidency. If we can't decide the legitimacy of these votes, Nancy Pelosi becomes the temporary president, President pro tempore, so she's president until we sort this out. If the president concedes the race, which is Plan B, then Biden will get up and then resign, which will bring Kamala into being the president and Pelosi into being the vice president, and Chuck Schumer or whoever as Speaker of the House. As she will nitpick at Kamala because people will probably be outraged with having her as president and ask for immediate impeachment, the same way they asked for immediate impeachment for Trump. And she'll probably get impeached but still serve her office, or she may get impeached and get removed if they can prove that her and Biden were in cahoots with frauding the country, which they will, because it couldn't be done without Pelosi's help. So Pelosi will provide the evidence, and she becomes president. So all three, ABC, all leads to Pelosi being president. And you know whose mouth we haven't heard yapping? Haven't heard Pelosi saying shit since the election was coming up. Day one, her mouth was, we got to impeach him. And if he gets elected again, we're impeaching again. That's malicious. That's vindictive. You know you don't have the right to do that, but that's what she was doing. And that's what she's going to do. Don't take my word for it. Just keep your eyes open, pay attention. You have two sets of news medias. You got the fake news, and you got the real news. Unfortunately, you have to go to the internet to get the real news because the fake news is all across the television set. Everything you see on the television set says Trump is making allegations and no facts. Trump is on the rampage again. Trump. But when you go to the internet and go to CNN, Trump's lawyers have found evidence. They're in case with Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They're at the Gettysburg meeting and conference. You know, those are telling the truth. And I mean, there's 5 states that have major points, 25 points, 12 points, 17 points, electoral points. And those states are saying, we got 3,000 ballots in the mail, but we got 6,000 ballots back. They all had the same erroneous math. I got 1,000 ballots back before I mailed them. I got 2,000 ballots back after I mailed them the same day. And I got 3,000 back on election day. There's no way in hell. What kind of mail system is that? You mailed them out a month in advance. And you didn't get them back until election day? That doesn't work. Then they talked about the voter system, the machines from Dominion, and how the machines were used to electronically and remotely change the numbers in the votes. There's a whole state that said that the Republicans in that state unanimously voted for Biden. Now, If you got 5,000 people in that state who they all can get together amongst themselves, even if it's one whole family or one whole neighborhood of maybe 10, 15 people, and they know for a fact they vote for Trump, but your report says, because you go to every state website and get the results. Don't take my word for it. You can look up every state and just look up election results. It's a matter of public record. They have to publish it on the state website. You can go to maryland.gov and see our statistics. Iowa.gov, see our statistics. California.gov, whatever state.gov, and it's there. DC.gov, not Washington, but DC.gov. District of Columbia manifesto. It's just so sad that you hate the man so bad that you wouldn't go through all these extremes and do this just to get this woman into the presidency, which is what she wanted. So they don't want to impeach Trump because Pence is much worse. Pence is more tactful, but he's on the same page with Trump. Governor Hogan said he'd rather talk to the vice president than talk to the president. Oh, well. That's because the man said it was a China virus and you married to a chink. Excuse the expression, but that's what they call a China woman, a chink. They live in holes in the walls, chinks. A chink is like you have a chink in the silverware or a chink in the plastic. It's a hole in the wall, a chip. When you go to a nail salon that has an upstairs room, most of the Chinese people who run the nail salon live upstairs over top of the store. That's called a chink. Now, to reference the living conditions to the people, that's something people do. People live in a neighborhood, they call them hood rats, neighborhood. They live in the hood. A hoodlum. He's from the hood. He's a hood rat. He's from the burbs. Because he's a suburban. He's in the burbs. He's a burbite. He's a wetback. He's a sand nigger, you know. He's a mud nigger. You can call it racism, but that's just the ignorance of man. They call you by the way you live. Live in the mud, live in the dirt. Mud race, wetback, sand strip, you know, raghead. You know, just sound like a child who identifies you by what you wear. It doesn't really sound insulting. It just sounds belittling. But all I can say is pray for the country and hopefully things get right. As far as I'm concerned, President Trump is still the president. We don't know because nobody wants to count the votes. Even if you count the votes and it still says 5, then fair enough. You did your job. But you're not going to tell me all them dead people from the cemetery that voted for Biden. Some of them dead people had to vote for Trump. If you're going to give some dead ballots to the man, give some dead ballots to Trump too. You know, it don't matter if it's a dead ballot or not. It should not be counted. And the dead man ain't got no Social Security number or ID. So how did the dead man get his name in the ballot books to vote? They knew what they were doing. People have testified, watchers have testified that they were not able to watch. They were a long distance of 200 feet from the people. All they were doing was tearing the envelopes and counting them, tearing the envelopes and counting them. Nobody was very